What's up, everybody? Kimberly Olson here, also known as the Gold Digger Girl, coming in for a special treat tonight for you guys. As promised, I have been able to get Tim Farrant to come on tonight to talk to you about his new book that's coming out. And I think all of you are a little on the excited side to hear about him and this book. And I'm just so excited about this opportunity. So, Tim, thank you for being on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're all of you, if you guys can just send some positive vibes our way. The internet's been a little, you know how it is when you bring a couple people to. Oh, Tim, we have some feedback that you look awesome. So you are lining up. You're showing up good. This is his first time using BeLive, which is how we're streaming. So he wanted just to double check on that. So you're looking good. What I want you guys to do, take it off, just to welcome him. Why don't you guys let me know? You guys know the drill. Let me know below if you have ever been a skeptic when it comes to network marketing, because we're going to pick on the husbands a little bit today, but let's just check ourselves first. Now, me personally, I definitely was a skeptic. I was like the girl who said, no way, I'll never do network marketing. But also let us know how you feel when it comes to feeling supported. You know, do you have a tribe? Do you have some people that are in your corner that are cheering you on? Do you have any resistance? You know, this is a safe place. But I think it's interesting for people to see you're not alone if you're not feeling the support that you need. And that's why we have experts like Tim out there to advocate for us as well. So let us know if you are a recovered skeptic in the network marketing industry or not. So Tim is and I'll show you guys, I'll put it on the screen so you guys can jot this down. We're going to put this in ManyChat. So if you guys put LINK anywhere tonight in ManyChat, you're going to get a message from me with the link to his book. So if you haven't bought it yet, it's on pre-order right now. You guys can grab it. It'll come right into your inbox. Click that link. It'll take you to Amazon and you'll be good to go. So Tim, to kick it off, why don't you share with my audience, because a lot of them may have not heard of you before. I've been talking about you nonstop since I got my hands on this book. So I think most of them know who you are. But why don't you share a little bit about your background and how this book came to be?
Sure. Yeah. And first of all, I just want to say, Kimberly, you've been an absolute rock star. And thank you so much for those of you who are just tuning in this and don't know you that well. You're the real deal. And so thank you for just reading the book and for encouraging me in this journey. And I know it's a passion of yours to inspire and empower women. Mm-hmm. And so thank you for partnering with me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this book really came from kind of the fun story is I was a skeptic about my wife's network marketing business. And then I went on an incentive trip with her. So she won a trip with the company that she works for. And so I got this free vacation. So of course I was going to go, right?
Right.
And so I go on this trip and literally every single woman that stands up, whether in a big session or a breakout session, they start talking and they start to tell their story. And it always involved a skeptical husband. And how the husband, you know, the wife came home and the husband was like, you want to do what? And are you kidding me? And, you know, don't do that. And all of that stuff. And then the funny thing is these women now that were standing up there are making like $500,000, $1 million a year. And their husbands are just kind of in the corner like, you know, like,
sweet.
That was me. But I went and I remember sitting in the hotel room with my wife and I said, babe, if we can figure out how to get husbands on board, and I mean, I was barely on board at this point in time, you know, but I said, if we could figure out how to get husbands on board out of the gate, it's not only going to help the success rate of women go through the roof, because we watched tons of them that gave up in the process. Not only that, but it's really going to help their marriages thrive. And so we looked for resources, couldn't find any. And at the end of the day, I felt to write this book. And so that's kind of how the book came to be.
I just love that story. Every time I hear it, I think it's so classic. I've been through that, and my husband, a lot of people watching this have known about, like, I always talk about Scott because, you know, I have to give examples of my life, and he's like the best husband ever. Like, he's a dream husband, but he was very skeptical, and it wasn't like mean. It was just, he didn't understand. And I think a big part of him where he thought it was pretend, because I would go in my office on nights and weekends because I was working full time. And he would go, why are you in your office so much? You know, and I'm like, because I knew it was going to get me out of my full-time job and I could be home with my babies because they were little when I started. And I was so driven to not miss anything. It like gives me chills. And I was obsessed, and he was kind of like looking at me sideways, and then I remember when I said, I'm putting in my notice. I'm putting my notice in. And he goes, well, what a true story. He goes, what are you going to do for the next 20 years then? Like he didn't, I had proven financially I could replace my income and then some, but that's just how we're wired, So why do you think husbands are so skeptical? Like, where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, I think one of the key things, and we talk about this in the book, is to really help husbands understand why they're so skeptical. Because it is a little different for certain husbands. So some husbands don't believe in the product, right? Like I think sometimes for some husbands, there's still a mentality that if it's not sold in like a brick and mortar store, it can't be real for some reason. And so for some husbands, they don't understand the product at all. For some husbands, the truth is they just want to see the money, right? Like they literally are just like, show me the money. And so until you can get to the point that you can show them the money, they're just going to sit around and be skeptical. But here's the thing, and we talk about this too in a lot of counseling that I've done as a pastor. We talk about the difference between a fruit issue, like a issue you can see, and a root issue that's below the surface. And for most husbands, there's a root issue below the surface that involves the money. So for some husbands, the truth is they don't believe that you as the wife can actually sell. Because like you've not been to sales training, like you've not led a team of salespeople before. So how can you actually do this business? Or for some, they don't know anybody that's actually been successful in it. And so they're sitting back going, how am I supposed to even believe that it's possible for you to make money? And so I encourage wives to get their husbands in front of people who have been successful, and then to help them understand the compensation plan. Because when they're sitting back and they don't understand how the business works, because they've been trained like everybody else to trade your hours for dollars, right? Your hours for dollars. And so when they don't get it, it's hard for them to comprehend and understand the compensation plan. Also, it makes a world of difference for them to really move from being skeptical to actively supportive. So does those make sense?
Yeah. So when you're going through that process, because it does take a long time for some to make the money. And, most people, they just want to be able to contribute. Like they don't want to go back to work, or maybe they want to be able to go to Target. I always use that example because it's a real example where, they don't want to have to ask their husbands for money. So they just want to be able to pay for all the extra stuff. And, maybe they're running the household or whatnot. But what about the place from starting, which that's so much of what I love about your book is the psychology around it. But from the starting point to the fruition of having that money, what about that in-between time? What would you say to them because they don't have the trip yet, they don't have the common check yet. What would you say to them to get their husband's buy-in before the money comes? Is there anything that they can do?
Absolutely. So one of the big things, the first is to understand the compensation plan, because until they understand the different steps in the process, they're always going to be going, when are you going to start making some money? When are you going to start making some money? When if they can see it on paper and say, oh, okay, so honey, you're right here. And in order for us to start making some money, you've got to get to here. Well, how do we do that?
Wow.
And then including husbands in setting goals. This is huge. Lots of women set goals in isolation or with their upline, but they never sit down with their husbands and say, hey, these are the goals. What do you think about them? Here's what it's going to take for me to get there. Can you support me in it? And then we can actually get to where we're trying to get to. So setting goals together and them understanding that is huge right from the beginning.
And I know your big mission, one part of your mission, we talked on the phone and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so aligned with what I believe in. And I think so much of this impacts the marriage. And I think it can hurt a marriage when women who will message me and they're like, oh, I'm thrown in the towel. Like, it's just my husband. And I'm just like, that's going to rear its ugly head in some way. Like you're going to start shopping online. You're going to start overeating. Like it's going to manifest itself in some way. But I think being able to sit down with your husband and say, hey, this is my goal. This is on my heart. And will you sit down with me so I can share with you? I don't think a lot of people even give their husbands that chance. Like, I know I didn't. I kind of like wanted it to all be like behind the scenes and they'd be like, here, look what I did, because I think I didn't believe in myself at first. I don't know if you see the work that you've done. So is there any strategies that you have in your book or anything that you suggest as far as bringing the husband into your world just to sit down and talk, would you say, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, that's such a good point, Kimberly, is because I do know so many women struggle to believe in themselves in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. And it's really hard as a husband for us to believe in this more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that's critical is a lot of husbands, as they sit there and they listen to you, and if they pick up that you may just be quitting next month anyway, if they hear that, they're going to be hesitant to jump in and really help you along the way also. And so
Mm-hmm.
I do think there is a part of belief, and sometimes maybe you can sit with your husband and say, I am struggling to believe I can do this.
Yeah.
So, can you help me to come
Mm-hmm.
up with some strategies? Can you help affirm me? Can you
Mm-hmm.
help me believe in this rather than, be water on my fire, be fuel on my fire? And can we sit down together and understand some things that you're better at than I am? Or can you affirm some things in me that I am good at? And let's take some steps together.
That is so awesome. I feel like it's like therapy for marriages. I do. And because you're a pastor. So I do coaching, and a lot of it is structural stuff. Like you said, there's a lot of deep rooted issues that come up. And I think even a little bit of like, I told you so. And it's like, you know what?
Mhm.
That's not a partnership. There's some self-sabotage or just some things going on. So I think this kind of forces the two to look at each other and, and just kind of bear themselves to say, like, this is what's going on with me. And I want to be really honest with you. And I think, if you could, like, husbands want to fix things. They want to help.
Yeah.
They want to contribute. They want to problem solve. So I think that would be a huge win for all of you listening to open with that of like, hey, I really want to do this. I want to share with you the vision of what I'm thinking, what this looks like. But I want to go over all these things, the comp plan, but I need some help. I need some help getting there. I need you to have my back, but I want your help in this because these are your strengths and I don't have that. And I think I run stuff by Scott all the time, especially working with a team. And there's so many different personalities, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, this happened. And I'm very like, reactive, and I'm love everybody, and I am sensitive, and he's much more like analytical and black and white. So he's like, here, da da da. And I'm just like, how did you just solve that in 2 seconds? I've been struggling all day with what to do about that. So I think that's really, really amazing that there's these tools in this book for your business, but also for marriages too. So in the book,
Yeah. Can I throw
yes,
something in real quick?
yes.
Wives, be specific with your husbands. I think one thing, if your wife just says to the husband, just help me, I just want your help. Like we
Mhm.
as men go, I don't even know what that means, right? Like
Yeah.
I think women are much better at like, oh, I'll jump in, I'll help you. Let me just get in there with you. And us as guys, we're going,
I
I
got
don't
you,
even know what
girl.
that means. Yeah, that's what you guys say to each other, but
True.
we sit back and we're like, I don't know. Can you be specific? Like, what do you want me to do? And then make sure as a wife you tell him by you doing this, it's going to help me get here. Because
Mhm.
when you can show us that our contribution is going to make a difference, it just gets us all kinds of inspired to
Mhm.
actually keep going and to make a difference and to contribute. So be really specific. The just help me wherever I need, like that's going to shut us down.
Oh
So,
yeah, you go, girl. We're like, we
yeah.
got you. Whatever you need, here. It's like so true. Oh my god. So yeah, and then also too, again, that buy-in, right? If you're
Yeah.
specific, now he knows, okay, this is my role in this situation, and also too, like the why. Like we all have whys, and I mean, the things that I hear would just bring you to tears. And I know you've heard stuff too, and I know you guys listening have really strong whys. Have you told your husband that? You
Yeah.
really sat down and said and brought him to tears, or let him be emotionally connected to why you want this. It could be because I don't want to ask for money. I want to freaking go do whatever. Or you know what? I want to be able to cash flow a vacation for our family. So many people go to Disney and they come back in mounds of debt. What if you could pay cash for your family's vacation? Do you think that would perk your husband's ears up and get his buy-in? Yeah, he would be pumped to have to know that that was a role that you were going to play and a goal of yours. So I think that's awesome. So going to the book, one, I have two questions. One of how can we get the husbands to read the book? And two, just so I don't forget, I feel like this book is for everybody. And that's what I've been telling everyone, because I got so much from it, Tim. I was just like, preach it. Like, it was so good. Like, the preparing yourself, it's gonna get hard. Like, you're gonna want to quit. Like, there are some such sound principles in there. But let's start with how to get the husbands to read it. And is it going to be an Audible? I think you told me that too.
Yes, it will be on Audible. I'm running into a couple problems with getting it uploaded. It's supposed to be uploaded already. So here in the next few days, it should be up on Amazon and other retailers. So,
Awesome.
but it's going to be on Audible, and I'm reading it. So woohoo,
Hey.
But yeah, so it'll be on Audible, and obviously there's a lot of husbands that are going to look at you and go, I'm not reading a book, but maybe I'll listen to it, right?
Yes. Yep.
Very short chapters. They're really specific. There's lots of just fun kind of even guy and sports references in it. And so it's really a book that's written from one husband to another.
Okay.
And so women that are reading it, you kind of, like you did, Kimberly, I mean, you kind of get to like look into the conversation between a couple of skeptical guys that are trying to figure this thing out with really practical principles. So a couple ways that you can get your husband to read it. One, you can get it on Audible. One thing I would say is don't guilt him into it. Like,
I might have tried that. I was like, I need you to read this because I need to know everything about this. And he was kind of like, oh.
But I think if you sit down and you honestly say, honey, babe, whatever it is that you call your husband, if you would just please read this first section, right? There's an introduction, 5 chapters, and if you hate it, I'll leave you alone. But if you would sit down and do this, they take 10 minutes to read a chapter. It would mean the world to me if you would invest an hour over the next week to just sit down. And most husbands, unless they're, really, really, really against your business or network marketing, are going to say, okay, if it means that much to you, I'll take the time to do it. But I would encourage women to not do the leave the book on the nightstand, hoping he finds it and opens it up and magically reads it and falls in love with your business, right? Like, don't be passive aggressive or those kind of things. Just sit down and just look him in the eyes and say, this would mean a ton to me if you would do it. And most guys aren't jerks.
Right.
They just don't know better, and they don't understand the business model. And in the very first section, we can get your husbands there.
Nice. Yeah, it's kind of like your supplements, or your product, whatever you set it out. You're like, maybe he'll take it. Never buy his stuff. He's not taking it. What's up with that? No. Oh my goodness. So is it fair to say though that this would be good for women to read that are getting started with their network marketing and still are struggling a little bit with being sold themselves on network marketing?
Yeah, I think so. I think there is I'll just be honest about this, and maybe this will hurt book sales, but I want to be authentic and honest about this. I think there can actually be an unintended consequence if the wife reads it and the husband doesn't.
Wow.
Which is now the wife is going to be holding the husband accountable for information that he doesn't actually have.
Okay.
And so now you read it and you're like, oh yeah, my husband should be doing that. And that's right. And he's sitting there going, I never read it. I don't even know what you're talking about. And so I know that a lot of women are reading this book first, even in people like you and those kind of things, but we got to get the husbands to engage the book as well. And so I do think women, there's a lot of beneficial things from it. And you've said that yourself, Kimberly, and obviously I respect you a ton. I just want to be honest about the
I love that approach.
for this as well. Is it really is one conversation from a husband to another to really help them be engaged. In fact, I would say this, my dream, right? As I sit around at night and dream about what the book could be, I think if every husband would read this book in the first 90 days of their wife starting the business, it's a game changer. So my dream is every person building network marketing businesses, when a new builder starts, they look at that builder and say, here's a list of books you should read, and there's one book we want your husband to read in the next 90 days. And if he can do that, it'll help your marriage thrive and your business be successful. So
I think
anyway,
that's awesome. No, I have a recommended reading list and this is on it.
yeah,
And I think what's really interesting is that you guys, I'm always saying this, but a lot of people quit around the 6 week mark, and the 8 week mark is where people start to see traction, and it's always 90-day cycles. So whatever seed you plant today, you're going to reap the benefits in about 90 days. So think about it. You're getting started, you're getting going, and then you get his buy-in. It's going to be night and day. If you can learn the longevity that you have to put in the effort and you get the results as you go, and then get him on board, it's going to transform not only you, but think of what that could do with your new people. When you bring people on board that are especially new to network marketing, or they haven't had success in a previous company and they come on board to your team. So their husband's like, oh, great. Here she goes again. The girl who cried network marketing, let's open up her code. What's in there, right? But if we could get him to see, no, she just hasn't found the right fit, right? Or whatever that looks like for her reason for changing, get him on board, get your mindset right. It's going to transform this business, you guys. It absolutely is. So we're going to give away a couple books. Now, I want you guys to all still go buy it. When is it officially coming out?
July 9th is the actual published date.
July 9th. Okay. So you guys can pre-order now. And then here's what it looks like. And what I want you guys to do, I want you to all order it anyway. So if you put link, I don't care about Facebook right now. So if you put link in the comments, wait, can you guys see link? If you put link below, ManyChat will send you a message and it will tell you where to order it. Okay. And then go ahead and grab it, but we're also going to raffle a couple off. So you guys could just gift these. Okay. So you'll have a couple copies on your hand. Okay. So if you want to win the book, just let us know. You can say yes below, and then we're going to give away 2 books. Okay. So I'll be looking at the comments to see. I don't know if ManyChat's fast enough for me to see, but we'll grab 2 winners and then I'll connect you. We'll get you connected with Tim so he can get that in the mail for you.
And then can I say you can order it basically anywhere where retail is
awesome.
sold, anywhere
Okay, good.
sold. But the one thing is if you go through our website, which is networkmarketinghusband.com, that's where you can get all the pre-order stuff. And so my wife and I did a few trainings on how to engage husbands and set goals together and do some things like that, as well as there's some other kind of things. There's actually a tip sheet on how to get your husband to read the book that you get for free, plus the introduction in chapter 1 and that kind of stuff. So you can get the book anywhere, but the only way you can get the pre-orders if you go to the website.
And I type it right, networkmarketinghusband.com.
You got it. Yep.
Okay. So, and then if you have any, if you can't get the bonuses and you're having struggles, just message me and I'll get it for you because I have it. I have the link for it. Okay. So we have got some people here that have said yes, yes, yes. So we are going to give it to, is it Trianisa Johnson? You'll have to message me of how I said your name the properly way, and then we'll randomly pick another person. Devin Baum. So you 2 are the winners. So just message me and I'll connect you with Tim and we'll get that for you guys, which is awesome. And then before we let Tim go, just a reminder, you guys, if you put link below, you'll get information on my boot camp. Okay, it's closing. There's 5 spots left, and I have $300 in digital swag that you'll receive. So it'll be a 15-page ebook on recruiting. It's going to have a Facebook Live profit formula, both my books digitally. There's tons of freebies in there. And then it starts Wednesday. It's an 8-week crash course. So just put link below. You'll get a link from ManyChat that will tell you more about it. Click the link so you can check it out. And this is the last time I'm teaching it live. So if you want me to kick the booty, then get in there, because every week I'm gonna have action steps, things you're gonna be doing to keep you in activity to get the results that you need, and you'll have access for life as well. So I just wanted to mention that before we wrapped it up. So Tim, where can they find you if they want to follow your journey?
Yeah, so we have a Network Marketing Husband kind of Facebook page is probably the best way to connect with that. We have Instagram and Twitter too, but Facebook just has so much good stuff on it. We're going to be linking a bunch of articles and different resources and things like that. And so you can get it there. And then can I say one other thing too?
Yes.
That I just want to say, ladies, when your husband takes a step, even if it's to watch this with you, or when he takes a step to read the book, or when he takes a step to sit down and talk about goals with you, affirm him. Affirm the small steps that he takes. We as men, the truth is, we need to be affirmed. And so when you do that, what's celebrated is repeated. And so when you
Mhm.
celebrate that in us and affirm us, it means the world to us when we know that what we're doing is making a difference for you. And so affirm the small steps. He may not be where
Mhm.
you want him to be yet, but just a little bit along the way. Be patient and affirm him. Makes a big
I
deal.
think he gets a gold star, a sticker that says you're awesome if he reads the book or listen. Even if he gets through, like you said, get him through that first chapter. Like if you see him reading it or he's like, oh yeah, I was listening to Audible. Even if he downloads it, like you guys, that's amazing. And that is he's gonna go, oh, and he might not show you that because that's just the nature is different depending on your husband. He's not, my husband's not like me, but it means a lot to them and they pay attention to that. And the bottom line is they do want to support you. It's just the understanding is where we need the clarity. And then you get the buy-in. And I'm telling you guys, for you and your whole team, everybody that you work with, this really can be a game changer. So thank you so much, Tim, for taking the
Yeah,
time.
thank you.
I appreciate it. I have a feeling we'll have you back once you get everything going. I'd love to talk more about the relationship component and how my ladies can, share their vision and their goals and their whys with their husband, because I think it's really important.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for having
You're
me.
so welcome. Good night, guys. Bye.